Good evening, ladies. Oh, yeah, one more guest coming in. We'll wait a minute. I'll go ahead and get the ball rolling just since it is 7 and we got a lot of movies to watch. Make sure y'all get popcorn and snacks so get comfy. Just a kind of quick recap. We're just going to go through a quick recap of our review process. If you want to snack that QR code, it's on the table or on the screens. We'll have a link tree that will include this presentation and some helpful resources. The transcripts to the videos are included on there. Link to SHAC and some other good stuff. The SHAC Classroom Health and Sex Education Standing Committee is currently reviewing for consideration for 4th and 5th grade maturation. A program by Marsh Media, video lessons by Marsh Media that we plan to recommend to full SHAC to be voted on to be taken to the Board of Trustees for approval. These are the members of that committee. I'll read them all out to you at this time. The TEKS, which are Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. I don't know if y'all are all familiar with what the TEKS are, but the TDA writes it, and the State Board of Education adopts the TEKS, which are the state standards for what students should know and should be able to do at each subject and grade level. TEKS relating to the HSAE, which is human sexuality and abstinence education, are labeled as reproductive and sexual health. The TEKS are the student expectations to describe specific knowledge or skills that they must know and demonstrate. So violence prevention TEKS, there are some violence prevention TEKS that are new and are included under the reproductive sexual health strand. We're not going to be dealing with any of those tonight. It's going to be purely maturation. And just like all HSAE curriculum, this would be an opt-in, which requires active participation, active permission by the parent or guardian in order for the student to receive the instruction. So historically, in the ISD, maturation instruction has been taught by the nurse. It's optional. Again, requires active opt-in permission from parents. It's presented once a year to 4th and 5th grade students. They're in gender-specific groups. Historically, in 4th grade, the boys only learned the boy part, the girls only learned the girl part. And in 5th grade, they were separate, but both learned both pieces. The way the TEKS are written, it's vague, but it does kind of indicate that boys and girls should be able to demonstrate the knowledge of both. So the recommendation is to teach both, but keep them separated. Still taught by the nurse, 1 hour session that's held in an alternative classroom arrangement using mainly videos, which we're going to watch tonight. The TEKS will be in the link tree, so you can kind of view what they are as far as what the requirements are that have to be met in order for the curriculum to, be TEA approved. And there's the link. This meeting tonight isn't active as far as public Q&A, but there is a Q&A link on the link tree that's live. So if you want to ask questions, the answers will come in real time. So without further ado, we're going to watch some videos. This is the video that's being recommended for 4th grade. It's called Meet the New You by Marsh Media. And this is the boys segment. Here, listen. Now we will watch the girls' version of Meet the New You. Alright, those are the 4th grade videos. Now we'll move on and show you all the videos being recommended for 5th grade. This is called Straight Talk, also by Marsh Media, and this is the boys. Straight talk puberty for girls. So those two videos for 5th grade boys and girls did a good job of covering the TEKS for 22 A, B, and C. However, there are two items, D and E, which go into, read them. So D says define the process of fertilization and reproduction. And E says identify significant milestones of fetal development. So those 2 points were not fully covered in those videos. So our solution to that was the first 5 minutes of this video, also Marsh Media. It's called A Baby is Born. So we're going to play the first 5 minutes of that. Slacking. So the part where it ends at the fetal development, that's where the goal would be to edit this video and stop, or just have it stop and get past. Alright. So those are the videos that the Chase Committee has sort of landed on as far as recommending. Potential timeline of when this could make it to your children's classroom would be the soonest, if everything went smoothly, May 1st through May 17th. So this semester, right before summer, we still have to bring this recommendation to the full SHAC to be voted on and approved. And then, so the goal is early to mid-February for that to happen, and then early to mid-March to get a board approval, which would allow time for permission slips to go home in March and April, parent previews, and then ultimately instruction in May. Other than that, that's pretty much the presentation. I'll go back to the QR code real quick if y'all want to grab it. So the link to the transcripts won't be on the link tree after tonight, but they will be available on Skyward. So anybody that you know that is curious about this that couldn't make it to the meeting, guide them to Skyward, and the transcripts for these videos will be available there. Because the videos are copyrighted, we won't have access to them after tonight unless the Board of Trustees recommends this and this becomes the curriculum. Then it will go on Skyward as well, I believe. Anything else, Jennifer? Otherwise, thank you all very much. If you have any questions. No, so through via the QR code, there is a feedback and can you hear me? There's a feedback link on through the QR code that'll be live Q&A, and we'll answer it as a committee. So everything that comes through there will get answered promptly. So that's how we're kind of doing the Q&A. So we wanted to respect everyone's time since we just watched. I mean, you can do it now. Yeah, I mean, you can enter your feedback now. We can discuss the response. We have a little bit of time till 9, I guess. I don't know if you had a specific question, or is it just mostly feedback?
I guess I'm just curious if this is like an evidence-based curriculum, or what was used to decide the curriculum aside. Like, is it just strictly the teams?
So the evidence would be on Marsh Media's website. So there's a link to it on the slideshow on the presentation. There are links to the website. And this battery's dead. I don't know. It keeps dying on me. Emma, I hope you don't mind if I put you on the spot, but as far as directing towards the evidence base for Marsh, do you have any assistance on that?
So the number of materials for an elementary maturation program or to cover the TEKS for 4th and 5th grade, they're fairly limited. And because most of the information is just generally factual growth and development based, there really isn't much variation in the factual information that was taught. The Chase committee was given a kind of a list of the available types of materials that can be found that could fit into the format of lesson that has traditionally been used. And they reviewed several different videos, and the reason these were kind of steered towards a little bit more is mainly there's not difference in content. It's mainly that, believe it or not, these are a little bit more updated than some of the others. I'm telling you, there are not a ton of materials available for this topic. But that's really the primary difference that you see in the different videos that are available.
Please do.
And just to think, I don't know what, honestly, by evidence-based, but these aren't necessarily behavior change programs. These are educational programs on body changes. There's not an idea that we're trying to change the student's behavior. It's more of informing them of what's happening to their body. So the whole idea of collecting evidence in a program doing that, they're not, because it's not a behavior, it's just an informative.
Right, so I guess I'm curious if this is like the method that would best allow the students to retain the information, like a 20-minute video, or is there going to be like more engagement with the students, like different methods of delivery?
So when the Chase started looking at materials or this process, I did present to them the way these lessons had been taught in the past, and that was that it was a 1-hour lesson with the campus nurse, presented primarily a video, and then in the past there's been question and answer. And so it was presented to the group, is that the format that they wanted to continue with? Did people want to look at a different format? It was agreed upon that that format had worked and they wanted to continue with that. So that's really the reason that we continue to look at a primarily video-based lesson, because nurses are leading the information and they do have good knowledge and experience with the information, but because they are not classroom teachers, that sort of format works more for them being the ones presenting the information.
The last thing she said, I just wanted to add to that was part of the consideration, the fact that nurses are teaching it, not teachers, since nurses are not certified as teachers also, making it comfortable and easy for the nurses. And I know, each grade level is important that they receive this, but they do also receive maturation and all of the other HSA programs as they progress through 6th grade, 7th, 8th, and into high school. There is a maturation element to those lessons also. So they'll get it again as they go through, which is the goal. But a big part of the video versus hands-on was the fact that the nurses are the ones giving this presentation at this age level.
Quick question. Once the video is done, I assume that it's going to create a sense in the classmates to have questions because the video encourages them to ask lots of parts. Do the teachers receive kind of training on how to answer those questions specifically, or they understand the parts directly?
So the primary, method or answer to that, in other words, is if it's not, and can you hear me? There we go. Through all of the HSE levels so far, if the question is asked in the classroom and it's not explainable with the content at hand, the students are being encouraged to speak to their parent or guardian or trusted adult with their questions. So there's not really a script, or like with the sex ed curriculums at later grade levels, there's not really a script that allows for a dialogue, and also going back to, again, they're not classroom teachers that are necessarily trained or engaged with that type of interaction. So there's not, to answer your question, there's not really a script to that. It would probably be more, am I saying this right? Am I right in what I'm saying, or sure?
I don't think we've gotten through,
Right.
As a standing committee, we're definitely not at the end of the process. So the public meetings really come in the middle of a selection process to gather feedback from the community, from parents. And so once we have that information and are kind of moving along the process towards making a recommendation to the full SHAC or the board, part of that will be determining whether having a delineated teaching guide so that they are answering questions that are covered in the video is included, or exactly how those will all work out. But in the past, just like Ben was saying, the material covered in the lesson can be used to answer student questions. And then anything outside of that material is encouraged to be taken home and asked there.
If there's more questions, comments, if y'all speak to other parents in your communities, please encourage them to use the form. It'll be live as soon as y'all comment on it. We'll get notified that somebody commented and be able to respond to that as quickly as possible. Also, always feel free to email to the SHAC at neisd.net or your trustees as well. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your time.